Oh, this music bangs so hard. Oh, it's so good. And it's still just a little bit of sweet because they didn't do the thing. It's okay. I'm not gonna do that again. It's okay. I'm not gonna do that again. All right, give me a minute to get up links. Dear God, I hope I've properly rigged the earbuds up to the PC. How is that the one thing I always forget to check? Got diagnosed with ligma. Was this all a setup for that bit? Was this a 2-day joke you had in the works? Because I gotta respect that, actually. Not many people would come into a chat 2 days in a row to set that up. That's pretty good. I'm not saying it out loud, but that's pretty good. That in chat. If I don't know if the VOD's gonna preserve the chat or not. I actually forget if that works like that. I think it does, as long as someone does comment. I think it does preserve that. But you can look down below if you're watching the VOD in the future to see what that was. Give me just a minute. I'm just setting up my links, and of course, Chrome wants to be super slow about it. Okay, there we go. That's number 1. That's number 2. Number 3. Okay. There we go. Number 4 is the last one I need to set up. And we'll be all good. All right. Okay. So, several things to cover before we start. Number 1, the other day I was asked about a potential donation link by someone that is in chat right now, actually. And I hadn't thought too much about it prior. Just didn't think my channel was quite at that level yet, but I decided, well, technically I was actually trying to make it happen today, but certain things need to actually get moved around in order for me to do that. So that's currently in process. So my hope is that I can have one up within 2 to 3 days. I want to be really clear that I don't want anybody to feel any pressure at all to give me absolutely anything. Wait, am I not muted? That's a good thing to check. Okay, there we go. I want to be super clear that, like, I'm fine, you know? Like, no one should feel pressure to give me anything. Bills are fine, food is fine, all those things are fine. This is purely if someone truly wants to. No other circumstances than that. That will also be made clear in said donation link when it's up. Again, I'm currently waiting for PayPal to approve certain things because I barely use that PayPal, but I'm gonna, I guess. So just wanted to say that there will be a donation link within the week. It'll be very basic. It won't be anything special, and it'll be super clear. No one should feel pressure to give me anything. It's only if they truly want to. And certainly not a lot. Like, dude, don't put yourself out, especially. I would hope that would be understood. But yeah, so that's the main thing. Number 2, let's talk about what this stream actually is really quickly. We are going to be doing the Shadow Generations movie DLC. To my understanding, it is quite short, but that's okay. It works for what I'm trying to do here today. This is going to be the new level based on the movie, which to my understanding has several optional bonus challenge levels unlocked afterwards, so there's just a little more sprinkling on there. Someone told me that there was only one act. That's not a 3D and a 2D act, but then someone else told me there are 2 acts, so I'm actually not sure what to expect. I'm just going to expect 1 in that case. Either is fine by me, to be honest. I think this DLC without the season pass was like $5, so expectations are pretty low. But not in a way where I'm not expecting it to be cool. Just like, I'm not expecting a whole lot of stuff. Before you leave, hold on. Before you leave for Sonic Drake, I will say there will be a spoiler cast in this, but it won't be until we've done the new content in the level. And to my understanding, the level is just like the first action sequence of the movie, and I don't even think like Sonic and Tails and Knuckles are going to be in the level, right? So if you just want to watch me play the new stuff that I don't believe will spoil the movie, I will not be talking any spoilers until after that point where we've done all the new stuff. And I will clearly state out loud, hey, now is when we're going to start talking about the movie. Okay? So everybody's clear. There will be a spoiler cast for movie 3 in here, but I will not be just blurting out random shit before the designated time. We're going to do the new stuff. So if you just want to see that, because it is opening weekend, if someone is watching the VOD, the movie came out yesterday. I saw it. It's great. I decided to do this stream today to give people a little more time to see it. But if you just want to see the level and all that stuff, I'm going to be doing that before we talk any spoilers at all. So don't worry. You are safe for a bit. I'm not an asshole. I'm not just going to start blurting random shit out. I might, in the middle of the level, go, oh, this is kind of like that. But I'll most likely be kind of vague. So, and also the sequence I believe the level is based on is like 20 minutes into the movie. Like it's nothing. So, you don't need to worry about getting spoiled until a little later in the stream. So just be aware of that. So no one needs to jump out right away. And then you can come back to the spoiler cast afterwards. The VOD will be there. It'll go in the Shadow Generations playlist. And yeah, or the Sonic X Generations playlist anyway. So yeah, we're gonna talk all about the movie, but not right away. The other thing I want to quickly address is that when I finished Shadow Generations, if you're, say, watching the VODs, and you're going straight from one thing to the next, you might recall that I was pretty gut-punched at the end by the fact that they played the wrong song. And it did deflate me, and I did end that last stream on a bit of a sour note, but I really do want to be clear, if you're going through the VODs playlist and you see this next, I love Shadow Generations. It's awesome. I don't want to have this idea that maybe I actually was really disappointed by it. I was disappointed in that singular moment, but the game is fantastic, and also that new version of that song they did choose is great. I just really wanted it to be I Am All of Me because I thought there was no other choice. I was like, well, that's the only one you could pick, and I was clearly wrong. But anyway, so yeah, that's the main thing. Just want to be clear in the month since now, and then I have absolutely, honestly, not even in the month, like in days after I finished, I was like, yeah, but that was still pretty great. So I just want to be clear, because I definitely left that last stream on like oh man, that kind of hurts inside, but it's still great, and I have no negative feelings about Shadow Generations, other than that one tiny personal gripe, but that's fine. Check the applied content on that screen. New DLC content redeemed. Start playing Shadow Generations and clear Space Colony Act 1 to access the new content. Okay. Well, we've already done that, so. Let me just see additional content right here. Additional BGM. PlayStation of the holidays all going. Hell yeah, it does. Admittedly, I'm fresh out of cash right now because I did get some things earlier in this month. As well as some Marvel Rivals skins. So, but yeah, I'll be good in a week or so as well. But yeah, other than like, you know, obviously like more important amenities like the cat food and all that stuff, that's all taken care of as well. All right. Well, I've also got some food here, but that'll be rather quick. Ooh. An anomaly has appeared in a white space. Open the pause menu. Pause menu. Oh, there. So, like, by the start? Oh, this game's so great. Oh, I'll say my non-spoiler thoughts on the movie real quick. It's fantastic. If you like Shadow at all, it's a dream come true. Truly. I felt like when I came out of the movie that I was about to become drastically more insufferable because of it. And that's probably true. One quick second. I just realized that I did not put on my Shadow Sonic X Shadow profile, and this game's controls for some of Shadow's moves were a little weird. So I just want to make sure, yeah, because like having the Chaos Spear on the back button was really helpful. Okay. So where is this thing? It's up there. Or is it down somewhere? I may have missed. Oh, sorry, wait, I'm sorry. It's actually not up anywhere. It's right there. Hey there. In the trailer, Shadow seemed emo as fuck. I mean, that's Shadow. That is the character. To be honest, sorry, no, I'm not gonna say too much about the movie until it's actually time. They're really cool. They actually got the ring aesthetic like in the movies. Oh, that's fun.
Where am I now?
Keanu. He was awesome, by the way.
Huh? Is that me? Huh? I've taken on another form?
This is interesting because it's still clearly game Shadow, but he's morphed into movie Shadow and he sounds like Keanu. All right.
Suspicious. I should follow.
Oh, listen to that.
Looks like I've kept my disinformed ability.
This is really cool.
Alright, a beautiful city. It looks like how Maria
Oh shit, how do you cast control again? That's alright. We're gonna do this level several times, don't worry. We're gonna do our speed runs, we're gonna do looking around for collectibles and stuff like that. Oh god! That's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. And he was so good, he was so good at it. Damn it! I'm going too fast. That's the idea though. What are these little posters? Are these the collectibles? Oh god. Yeah.
This is the ultimate power.
Oh my god, he actually said it.
I need to find my way back. Or find my way out. Let's do this.
Wow, that's both really good. Oh, that was great. I didn't even do that. That was automatic.
What a waste of time.
Yo! Whoa! Holy shit! Oh my god. Look at that, man! Look at that gun model. Oh my god.
You can't stop.
I had a feeling that was gonna hurt me, but I kind of just went into it anyway. Which lanes? Oh, really? Oh, yeah, that just leaves a patch. Okay, gotcha. I missed one. Wonder what these get me.
Chaos control.
Oh my god, he said it! He actually said it!
Too slow.
Ah! Damn it. That was bad. Yo. Oh my god. Oh my god, what? Oh, that was cool.
Perfect.
Damn! That was awesome. That was awesome. I'm glad there's some extra challenge levels here. Because obviously that was, you know, for $5, that's a cool bonus level. I was expecting just one, to be fair. If there is an Act 2, that's awesome, but I'm not expecting it for the price. Whoa, wait, whoa, we're not done? What's going on?
Oh. Chaos control.
He said it again!
I have no time for this. I have to complete my mission. But I'll be back.
But I'll be back, he says. Good job, idiots. You blew up that tower. That was so great. We're definitely going to go through that, like, a number of times. View the posters obtained for the Tokyo Act in the collection room. Sure, let's check that out real quick. Okay, let's see. Oh, that's cool. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's really neat, actually. God, that model is so great. I am a little bummed because I heard you can only use this model in that level. Like, you can't take it to the rest of the game, which is, yeah, that's a bummer. I wish you could, but oh well, I guess. That's pretty cool. That's also pretty cool. I think these two, getting to see the front of them are probably the best, though, but also getting to see the background is cool, too. Yeah, I wish you could take that into the rest of the game. That'd be nice. I thought I plugged this controller in. Am I crazy? Okay. Okay. So we did technically have a few collectibles left to grab in this game, which is good because that'll give me something to kind of do while once we're done with just doing these. Okay, challenge 1 and 2. Is it just 2 extra challenges? Is that it? Admittedly, I was expecting the usual 4, but if it's just 2, I guess that's fine. That being said, let's try and get those other posters, I guess. No, I don't mind watching this again.
Where am I now? Huh?
It's a fun choice to have it actually be like, no, he's just morphed into Movie Shadow, but it's still Game Shadow.
I've taken on another form? feel
Yeah, this doesn't spoil anything from the movie at all, actually.
suspicious. I should follow. Looks like I've kept my disinformed abilities.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go.
Let's do this. A beautiful city. It looks like
Oh, no.
how Maria described
There we go.
Earth.
It looks like how Maria described the Earth. That's interesting. As if he hasn't seen it before. They might not have been super clear on if it was Movie Shadow or Game Shadow. To my understanding, they didn't know they were recording it. Like, they were just like, yeah, by the way, Keanu's coming in. Like, what? What do you mean? Also, what? I don't think they knew that Keanu was going to voice him in the movie when they recorded this, apparently. That's the other thing. Apparently that hadn't been announced yet, so they're like, what the fuck do you mean Keanu Reeves is coming to the studio right now?
I need to find my way back. Or find my way out. Let's do this. This is the ultimate power.
He's putting all his all into it, as always, of course.
What are they?
He's like, yeah, whatever, I did Cyberpunk, I've done video games before, I get it. He never puts in anything less than 110.
What a waste of time.
This is so cool, so fucking cool.
You can't stop me. I must keep moving.
Wait, there was another road I could have jumped to there. Maybe that's where I'm looking. Could also be down here. Didn't go here the first time.
Yep. All right. Freeze.
Didn't see any of those posters this time, though. That's a pretty tricky sequence. Even better time, by the way.
Perfect.
We can do better. Oh, good. You skip all the cutscenes.
Suspicious. I should follow. Yep.
Oh, didn't hit it.
Looks like I've kept my misinformed ability. A beautiful city. It looks like how Maria described the Earth.
Damn it. That sucks.
Suspicious. I should follow.
Not gonna lie, I think the funniest tweet I read all year was still like right after they announced that Keanu was gonna do Shadow, and it was just like Keanu Reeves fucking like because the way that he like really gets into characters is really interesting to me. But it was specifically on a tweet of like shit, like Keanu didn't just come in and read lines. Like he came in and he wanted to know everything there was to know about Shadow. He wanted to get into his personality. He wanted to get into like stuff that happened in the games. He was asking questions. Like he was all over the place. He wanted to get in there. And it's this tweet that was like fucking crying over the idea of like Keanu Reeves wiki diving and just getting to like deeper into the wiki, or not even deeper into the wiki page. It was just like, Jesus, Maria was just a kid. And he's like crying. Like I can see that happening. It's the funniest shit.
Let's do this. A beautiful city.
Okay, because I'm jumping there. You should not jump.
Yep. Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Chaos control. I need to find my way back, or fight my way.
Oh no! Damn it! Did he actually just say, I need to find my way back, or fight my way back? Because that's really raw, actually.
This is the ultimate power.
What could I be missing?
What a waste of time.
What a great level. Like, holy shit. No, wait. I think it's back there. Stop it. Yeah, there's one. There's one up there. How do I make that work, though? How do you get up there? Jump on the car? Yes. Okay.
All right. Chaos control.
There we go. Wait, was that a poster? No, it was the electric gate. Okay, fair enough. Was that poster 3 or 4?
Miss too slow.
Thing is, if you made it here, then you're already done. Hell yeah. It's an earlier one. Interesting, okay.
Suspicious. I should follow. Looks like I've kept
Yeah!
abilities. Let's do a beautiful city. It looks like how Maria described the Earth. Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad I waited until after I saw the movie to do this. This is great. Wait a minute. Okay, let's try this. Ow. Let's not try that.
Right.
Let's continue trying that. Hey, there it is.
I need to find my way back, or fight my way out.
Or fight my way out. Ah, well, it's still cool.
What are they? What a waste of time.
I could watch this over and over again, dude. It's so good.
You can't stop me. I must keep moving. This is the ultimate power.
There we go. Damn! You have to chaos control that or you're not making it.
Missed it. Too slow.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to have a better time on this one, too. And this isn't even my speed run yet. Hell yeah. Even better.
Perfect.
Cool. Let's do our speed run now.
Suspicious. I should follow. Yeah.
No, better. We can do better.
Suspicious. I should follow. Looks like I've kept my basic form abilities.
Oh, really?
Let's do this.
Didn't expect to go over it like that.
Beautiful city. It looks like how Maria described the Earth. Yep.
Damn, that was terrible. What's up with me then?
Suspicious. I should follow. Looks like I've kept my basic form abilities. All right. Chaos control. There. It looks like how Maria described
There we go.
the Earth. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
Let's do this. This is the ultimate power. I need to find my way back, or fight my way out.
No! Oh, wait, it worked. How'd it work?
What are they? All right.
There we go.
What a waste of time. boss can't stop. I must keep moving.
Oh, I could have homing attacked the helicopter, really? Shit. Damn. Should have kept chaos control, I guess.
Let's do this. Freeze.
There we go.
Too slow.
Pretty sure that's even a better. Although I'm not sure boosting on here is doing much of anything. That's definitely a better time, though. I'm happy with that. All right. Best. Hell yeah.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, right. What's this? Fair enough.
Oh.
We watched the other one twice, so we can watch this one again.
Control. I have no time for this. I have to complete my mission, but I'll be back.
All right. Okay. Now let's try out these bonus acts. Oh wait, let's look at the posters first. 3 and 4. That's fun. That's pretty great. That's pretty great. Fun. Then pop a set number of balloons and reach the goal in time. Okay. Nothing super crazy, but we'll do them. Oh, I see. There we go. Oh, this is fun. This is neat. This is cool. I like this. Oh, I see.
Freeze.
Oh, yeah? Oh, okay. That's pretty great. Neat. Nothing super fancy there, but that's fine. I liked it. And there's only a third challenge. Okay, so there's some extra challenges, but right, I guess it is 2 challenges per stage, and they didn't do an act 2, so I guess that makes sense. That it would be only 2. But yeah, okay, fair enough. Oh shit! Oh, it's one of these. Okay. Oh, I mean, okay. Cool. A little more platforming focused.
Nice. Freeze.
You can tell this one's a little crazier just because there's a higher time limit on it. All right. Oh wow, yeah, this is a ring challenge. Okay, yeah, sorry, I wasn't even processing that. I was just like, yeah, whatever, break the target. Oh, I kind of got dropped there. That's fine. Yeah, maybe reading the descriptions would help. Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, no, we can do this better. Okay. I gotcha. I see the issue there. There's like you kind of have to dash there, or you're not going to make it. There we go.
All right. Chaos control.
Oh yeah. Look at that. Okay. We're at our complete rating. Got it. Neat. So I guess at this point, yeah, that would be considered completion on all this stuff. Okay. Well, we're about at 43 minutes now, so now that we've done all the new stuff in the Shadow-centric movie DLC, I will go ahead and say, hey, if you don't want to get spoiled on Sonic the Hedgehog 3 in theaters now, you should probably step out now, okay? So, just so we're clear, I will probably be fucking around on camera and trying to grab stuff in the environment while we're doing this. But yeah, we are definitely. Sorry, I just saw a Marvel Rivals video in my suggested for aiming tips, and I'm gonna need to throw that in my box for later to look at. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna talk about spoilers for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Shadow and all of its components now. So just be aware of that, because as of right now, we're going to start talking about all the shit. Bear in mind, I'm going to go through the movie in sequence, so you don't have to worry about like the post-credit stuff until a bit later in the stream. So just be aware. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. So let's quickly talk about what I feel about the first two, which seems important to do. So Sonic Movie 1 and 2, I think Sonic Movie 1 is great. But it's clearly ashamed of being a video game movie in many ways. But I think most of that is the Hollywoodization and not trusting the director yet. And you can mainly see this in Jim Carrey's like costuming and like the way that they're toning him down from what he could be, right? And what you clearly see he's capable of being in the rest of his career, but also in the latter two movies. But like, I think the thing that gets me is like, the movie does have a solid emotional core, which is funny given that I expected very little. I mean, I was not expecting it to be good in any capacity originally, you know? Like at all. I was very much of the mind that like, by the way, I should probably test my sound real quick. Okay, yeah, it's actually sounds pretty good. I was of the mind that like movie 2 is drastically better than the first because it more embraces it embraces the games in a much stronger way to the point that there's even like a level at one point, like the temple stage, I guess you could call it, is like a classic Sonic set piece. But the other thing about it is that like they let the franchise's like strengths and personality breathe in a much more open capacity than they had previously, which I think is great. I think what makes that work very well in Sonic 2 is just that like they have a good capacity for letting they're letting the Sonic cast breathe more, you know, and have more room outside of the human characters. And I think Sonic 1 works very well with what it does for that, but I think bringing in the rest of the characters has been great for it. The biggest problem, I actually like the human characters quite a bit, minus the sister character, who was a bit much. But I dislike the human plot lines in these movies a lot. And what I mean by that is, movie 2, there is a segment of the movie where the movie just fucking stops for like 15 to 20 minutes, it feels like, to just let's have the humans drive the plot entirely for a little bit, and it does not work. It is aggravating. It slows the movie to a crawl, and it just feels like this moment of, oh my god, yeah, wow, the movie just stopped. Like you feel like a chunk in movie 2. That's just like, okay, and it's the sequence where they crash the wedding, right? That feels very. It feels very loose. It feels very like. It's not forced, but it just feels like they're not doing everything they could to make that exciting. And I think that's important to mention for Sonic 3 because Sonic 3 doesn't have that problem. The human characters come in, they don't... Like, you could argue that the human plot in the Sonic 2 drives the plot to an extent, but I think the problem with it for me is that the Sonic cast isn't really involved. Like they're literally unconscious for the whole sequence, right? But when we get to the part of this movie where the human cast is involved, and by the way, I'm not talking about Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's doing his thing and he's just great no matter what, right? I'm talking about the fact that like the rest of the cast is expected to just sit there and like the Sonic cast just takes a back seat in movie 2 when that happens, and it's really, really rough. But then that sequence is over, the movie picks back up, and then it goes back into high gear, and it's great again. And it's like, okay, so clearly, like, there's a moment where I'm sitting there like, did you guys forget how to make the movie? Did you forget? And it's like, oh no, they didn't. They just didn't know how to like make that sequence work in the best way. And it felt like this is the Hollywood mandated human plot wrap up sequence, right? And it's just like, oh my god, yeah, like it doesn't work in movie 2. So here's what I feel like the writing process for Sonic 3 was in this capacity before we get into all the other stuff, because I kind of want to talk about the human stuff first, so then we can move on to all the other stuff as quickly as possible. See, this seems like this was the writing process for Sonic 3. So they got that guy, the writer who was like, all right, now we gotta get all the human plot wrapped up, right? From Sonic 2. The guy whoever wrote that sequence in Sonic 2, he's like, all right, we gotta get the Hollywood mandated human plot out of the way. So they got that guy, they called him in to come do the script for Sonic 3, and then they hog-tied him, wrapped him in duct tape, and shoved him in the room closet, and then they went and shot the movie. That's what it feels like. It feels like, oh, wow, the human characters are like, they are only here in service of the larger narrative this time, and it feels much better before it. Like, it feels much less obtrusive when they do have their sequence in the movie. It feels like there is a solid emotional through line, and I mean, it's important for Sonic in this movie in a way that it's not in 2. Like, Sonic's development with the human cast in 1 is much more important than it is in 2. Here, it's much more important than either of them. for Sonic's arc, which we'll get into a little bit later. Though I do think the Sonic half of the movie, is that the way to put it? The Sonic part of the movie is definitely messier, in some ways, and everything to do with Shadow is perfect. I can't stress enough how much they nailed it. And yeah, so that's sort of where I'm at with the human stuff. Is just, I feel like they finally got the right balance, and I actually felt like the human characters worked this time. And I was also pretty happy to see people saying that before I went in, like, oh, thank God. Like, people that hated the human stuff in the other two movies coming out of it, like, hey, I finally liked the human cast this time. It was great. Like, oh, that's great. I was so happy to see people saying that. So, and yeah, so that's kind of where I want to leave the human stuff. I don't want to get into it too much, just because I think that's not where the meat of the movie is at. So, yeah, let's just cross that off right away. So let's start in sequence. So Shadow waking up in the lab, cool sequence. Not a whole lot to say about it. I think it's pretty much what it should be. You know, it's what it would have been in the games. You know, him waking up, Gerald setting him free, kind of thing. I think that works pretty well. I kind of wish he talked a little bit more in that scene. I wish we got more dialogue from him in that early part of the movie, but it's fine. It's not that big a deal. By the way, I realized after this playthrough that I did originally that I can actually turn in those machine parts that I already have. That was the thing I didn't realize prior. But yeah, so that sequence is cool. The dynamics between Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are way better this time. And I liked them a lot last time. Knuckles is still just as great. I also think I watched the 4 episodes of the Knuckles series. I didn't finish it for anything related to quality, to be honest. It was unrelated reasons. I did not get through the last 2 episodes. Again, not related to quality. I was enjoying it. It's just excellent. It's tricky. Is everything stopped in the void? A relative, old chum. Besides, we don't age. We have all the time in the world. There's no rush to finish the rocket. Oh, this was where you get more stuff. Interesting.
Deeply appreciated.
But yeah, so the little race sequence I think is really cool. I liked the trick with Tails doing the decoys. That was a fun way to use Tails' intelligence. Tails was really great in this one, actually. And they did a great job with him last time as well, but I think in particular they did a really, 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 really great job with him this time as well. So then they get on the gun helicopter and Kristen Ritter pops out, which was interesting. I was expecting her to be a different character, but I was still happy with the way they went with that. So they grab him. They go to the first sequence of Shadow. They handled that sequence so well with the gun. They had him using the gun. They had him using the motorcycle. I thought they did a great job representing as much of the game, representing as much of that game as they could.
Excellent.
His game specifically, like giving him the gun and all that stuff. He actually used it too. Like they bothered with that. Now I think it was a great nod, even though I still fundamentally agree with the creator of Shadow's comments on this game of like, no, Shadow doesn't need a gun. He is the gun. And I think that is a much cooler direction for the character in general, but letting him use it for a minute is totally fine as a nod. And I think that's a really cool way to make that like, hey, here it is. But then he doesn't use it for the rest of the movie. So that made me really happy. Because I was a little like, don't go too far with the gun, you know. Like, and it's like a laser gun too, so it's also in that weird realm of like kid friendly gun, right? But yeah, I thought they handled that pretty well, and they didn't overdo it. Like I was kind of worried they would. Next up, the motorcycle chase. So I'm gonna be real. The bit from the trailer where they're flying at each other in the air at the end, where he leaps off the motorcycle and they fly at each other. I don't know why, but my expectation was that was going to be the end of the movie. Like, I thought that was going to be the climax. boy, were my expectations blown out of the water on that front. So, so yeah, having that motorcycle sequence be just the opening was spectacular. I loved the Chow Garden scene because that was a great way to make the Chow Garden work in the context of this universe. Right? That was a really smart choice and a way to nod that in a fun way. Of like, you know, it's a type of essentially restaurant cafe in Japan. I thought that was a really neat way to make that work together. I think, as always with these movies, the humor is very hit or miss. I think the writing has always been a little like it's not firing on all cylinders. There's not. The movies are good with like emotional beats more than humorous ones. At the same time, these are jokes that will work for kids. You know, like I can't get too off about it. At the same time, I do think you can make better jokes for kids. That being said, I don't think the humor in these movies is out and out bad. I just think it's worse whenever it's too pop culture self-referential. But like, I will admit, there are some great bits in this movie. I'll talk about one of them in particular that really got me in a bit. So yeah, we have the Chow Garden sequence. We have Stone going out on the motorcycle, and I immediately guessed that's what that was. We get to the egg crab sequence from the trailer. Apparently they really cut Jim Carrey's hair on set. Like, that was not fake, that was not a wig. Which is really funny. I think the weight jokes might have just been a little much for me, but they didn't hammer them home too much. Like it gets a scene, and then it's over. So I didn't mind it too much, but generally those never really work. Those don't really work for me anymore, humor-wise. So yeah, but thankfully they're there and then they're out. And so we then cut to, of course, Jim Carrey wanting to know who's using his tech. Of course, if you've seen the trailer, this was actually a bit of a complaint for me. I really wish they had not spoiled Gerald in the trailer, in the marketing. I actually wish they kept that close to the chest. That would have been a brilliant surprise, because they have. Because the movie actually does spend quite a bit of effort on keeping that a secret. Like, the movie itself tries to keep that a secret. Like, you have Gerald in several scenes, you see the white coat, and if you know anything about this, you know Gerald's coming. But they keep him shrouded in shadow for most of his early appearances. And so I was like, and you can hear the voice a little bit, right? But they kind of mask it just a little bit that it's Jim Carrey at first when he's still in shadow before he reveals himself properly. And all I could think was, they really wanted this to be a surprise, huh? Like the marketing team, or not even the marketing team, the director and everybody else involved really wanted that to be a surprise. And I think it would have been a lot better if they managed to keep it a surprise. I don't know how they could have kept it a surprise. Quite a bit of the movie's later sequences involve him. So it would have been tricky to actually keep Jim Carrey doubling up a surprise. But I felt like the movie was explicitly designed to try to... Is my phone ringing? Sorry, 1 second. Oh, my bad. 1 sec. Amazon package downstairs. I can go in a bit though. And so like them shrouding that, I felt like they were clearly hoping to keep Jim Carrey, Gerald a surprise as far as like when they were making it, but clearly marketing had other ideas, and that's unfortunate. It truly would have been a great surprise to have that moment, and mainly because there's a great joke about it. But yeah, that was a moment I was kind of like, that would have actually been much stronger, and I think that could have made the movie even crazier if we didn't know that going in. But yeah, so So they have Gerald, and they go to the facility. Nice little heart-to-heart with Tails and Stone that I thought was really nice. I like that they finally gave Stone, like, a bit of a... Stone has always had, like, a he wants to be approved thing in these movies, but, like, it's never been reciprocated on Jim Carrey's end, right? So it's never reached... The arc never reached, like, a conclusion until this movie, right? Here they actually take the time to pay it off in a way that I actually thought was really nice. And because I was kind of waiting for them to pull that card, because they didn't in the previous two movies. It's... I think we had a bit of a conversation last night on the Marvel Rivals stream about, like a brief one about how, like, I think Caitlin was a little, like, they did that again, and I was kind of like, I don't feel like they did it again. I feel like they did it for the first time. You know? Like, I think him having a one-sided wanting to be improved by Gerald and then just constantly, or not Gerald, by Robotnik, and constantly being, like, you know, but like just not even rejected, but like, how do I put this? Yeah, not even rejected, just like ignored. Was like, that was a shtick that they were running, but it felt like it had to go somewhere eventually, and I felt like they paid it off in a decent way in this movie. Other than that, so we get to Gerald. And, you know, in the saggy flesh, which is very fun as a, like, Jim is doing himself kind of thing. The line, like I said, then all the characters hanging out, you know, running around in the lab. Knuckles being scared of ghosts is fun. I liked when we introduced the two of them, and we had, like, their, like, prove you really him kind of scene. But for me, yeah, I wish they'd managed to keep that a surprise. It would have been great to have that as a big reveal. Obviously we knew Gerald would be in it. It's more about having it a reveal. The reveal that Jim Carrey is also doing it, right? Like, that would have been the fun reveal for me, personally. Obviously Gerald would be in the movie. But I would have expected it to be a different actor, right? And I think that would have been a fair assumption. Like, hey, who are they going to get to play him? And then it's like, oh, well, Jim Carrey, of course. So the line that they get that really killed me, it's such an overt line, and it's obviously the most wink to the camera. They literally stare into frame. Is the, like, we look so similar, almost like we're two characters in a movie played by the same actor, and then look straight into frame. It's not as funny when I say it out loud, of course, but, like, I thought that was really great. I thought that was really, really, really... That killed me. These movies can hit a punch above their weight sometimes. They're often very much more interested in being pop culture, self-referential. That being said, this movie was a lot less of that, and that made me happy. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, what was the worst... When I think of movie 1 and 2, a lot of the jokes are them doing big pop culture references, and I think of a lot of them, and I'm like, it's too much. It's too referential. I can't really think of... There was stuff in this movie that was like that, but I can't think of anything in particular that, like, struck out immediately to me as like, oh, just shut up. Come on, don't do that. You don't need to do that. But yeah, I thought that was really, really well put together. How do I get the wings to shadow?
Ultimate power.
How do I do that? Is that a record? No. Q&A? Ah. Hi, bud. Sweet kitty. There we go. But yeah, so we introduced Gerald, and now of course they're on the same team, and it's interesting because Gerald, they used him pretty well. I thought the thing that kind of surprised me is that Gerald is normally not defined as an explicitly... Well, no, he is defined as an explicitly evil character with, like, a with a definitive, like, hey, I want to kill humanity. I want them gone. But I think for me it was interesting because this game, obviously I just played, and like, in this game, obviously he's chiller, but then again, to be fair, he is chiller in this game, but he's coming from a portion of time before he goes nuts. So I guess that makes sense, right? That wouldn't exactly be the way that I would expect that to work out, right? But it was interesting to have him be like, no, I don't want to rule the world. I just want to blow it up, which is obviously Sonic Adventure 2's thing. The movie is not Sonic Adventure 2, the movie. It is the Sonic movies do Sonic Adventure 2. And to be fair, that is what I always expected and wanted. I didn't want them to carbon copy Sonic Adventure 2 because, like, I don't know, I wouldn't... To just simply adapt it would be kind of strange. But it is damn close. Like, obviously they have to tweak for their own things, and the Space Colony arc, it is not exactly what you remember, but, I mean, the climax of the movie is in space. So we have Shadow's backstory given to us around this point. I'm actually kind of forgetting exactly what this blow is, if it's before we meet Gerald or not. But we get Shadow's backstory with Maria. Really loved this sequence. Thought it was fantastic. They gave her more to do in this sequence than, like... You get more from Maria in that sequence than, like, they really ever do with her in the games, to be honest. Like, it is a short sequence, but they give it a solid emotional, a solid bit of emotion behind it, and I think they landed that tone just perfect, just to make sure that you get just enough to get where Shadow's coming from, and like, it is a very sweet story, and I was happy to see it carried out on film with more. You never get to see Maria too much, and the amount that you get her in the games, I mean. And the amount that you get her in the movie just felt very honest, and it felt like exactly as much as you needed. The thing I really liked, because I knew going into this movie, okay, we're not gonna get the Biolizard in this movie. I knew that going in. There's no way. They're not gonna do the Biolizard. Because that's probably too much. Even though, I will admit, quickly, the climax of the movie did have me wondering, well, what are they going to fight when they eventually team up? And the answer was fine, but it was also a little less interesting than the Biolizard in a sense, and I realized they probably could have fulfilled the same function. That being said, the Biolizard being actually, hold on, let me get out. So having the Biolizard be a kaiju movie that he's watching with Maria, and you just see it in black and white with a shitty costume, and it's clearly the Biolizard in design. That was really cute. I thought that was a great way to nod at it and be like, we know, but we're not ashamed of it, but it just doesn't fit. I still kind of think it could have, because like having something to like, having something to fight at the end other than some robots probably would have made sense to me. I think that would have been a good way to do it. But at the same time, I get why. It probably would have been hard to justify it. Well, where is the Biolizard if not in space, and what is his purpose in the experiments? They slightly changed the setup, but not in a way that really alters Shadow's backstory per se. Like, a Shadow's backstory is like, hey, he was he basically was experimented on. He essentially came from something from space, and then he got experimented on, and they used that DNA to try and make the ultimate life form / Shadow. The only real difference here being that in the movie, they have him come still from space. It's unclear if it's to do with, like, Black Doom or the Black Arms or any of that stuff, if they'll ever touch that. I don't know. Maybe they'll do that. They could certainly retcon it into being that easily. It seemed unclear enough for a reason because they could easily do that. Maybe they could do... I saw them mentioning doing a Shadow spin-off movie, and frankly, if they wanted to do that, that would be great. And you could totally do that. and maybe bring in some stuff with the Black Arms. I thought, like, yeah, but ultimately, like, his backstory hasn't really changed. They just tweaked that, like, they basically just tweaked that it's not happening in space. But even then, you still get to space, and I mean, does it really matter where he's been? Well, like, what is Shadow's backstory in the game, really? It is something came from space, Gerald uses it to try and create the ultimate life form to cure a disease, and then, like, ultimately, he tries, and it doesn't go well, and then Maria gets shot, or gets killed in some way. That's pretty much exactly what it is in the movie. The little tweaks they made here or there, I would not go as far as to call them a change in the backstory, as much as just like a modification to make it suit the movie timeline, right? So I think they did a good job with that. They justified that well for me. I thought that sequence was really good at establishing Shadow's, Shadow's deal for people that don't know. Oh yeah, that's. I'm trying to think what was necessarily next at this point. Right, so then Shadow does the big sequence with the black hole, ties him to the chair. There's nothing super exciting to talk about there. I liked James Morrison's Muppet a little bit more than I thought I would. I could have used it maybe one more bit with it. I thought it was very silly. I appreciated it. Maybe that's just because I'm a sucker for puppets. But I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun bit. I wouldn't want them to overdo it and drag it into the ground or anything, but I thought for what it was, that was solid. Next up, we have the big sequence, which is essentially the human sequence, but like I said, it's tied into the plot this time as opposed to being like there for the sake of being like there for Hollywood's like, well, we gotta have the human stuff. Like, there's no that's the thing that separates this from the other two movies for me, especially movie 2, is Sonic 3 doesn't have a human plot line. There is no human subplot that has to get paid off. The human characters are just there, and they're supplements to the Sonic movie story in ways that is much more earned and much more sensible. And I think they do a good job of making them work for that. Also, I don't like the sister character. I'm not alone in that opinion. I think the sister character is aggravating. They used her perfectly here, in that she's not really there, and they're actively making fun of the bit. Like they get that the bit is aggravating, and they use it in a way that they're like, no, we actually get that this is annoying. We're not actually going to let her into the plot this time. They even used the silliness of the like husband plotline from last time in a way that actually like paid off pretty solidly. Why Tails is able to make a perfect life model decoy / like face replicator is very funny to me. I think that's really that is a fun bit. It is slightly contrived. I feel like I forgot the scene where Tails explained exactly. Like Tails probably explained it while he was doing the mission stuff about when he him making those. I think I probably missed that exact line. I'll be honest, but that's fine. I could still accept. Like, okay, they just have perfect face tech. Fair enough. Although it's not really perfect, as we see. So we have. Oh, I didn't even mention earlier that they killed off the general character in the last movie. Which actually, I mean, that was a minor character at best, and he was very silly last time. But I was actually kind of surprised by that, because it seems like they made him pretty essential to Shadow's backstory, so I kind of thought he would be in it more. Maybe that's just like a character actor, they didn't know what to do with him. But yeah, overall, I thought I was actually kind of shocked that they killed him off early. I wouldn't be surprised that I wouldn't have been surprised if they killed him off later, but also, like, I was shocked they killed him off early, even though he's a minor character, right? And I think the reason for that is just because he does end up being kind of essential to Shadow's backstory. You know, like, I felt like they could have paid that off a little more later if they wanted to, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. Like, the movie has the movie has a breakneck pace in a way that I feel like is very representative of the rest of the franchise, and I cannot help but love that they just went for it. This is the best Dragon Ball movie that anyone is ever going to be able to make in live action, by the way. That's never, like, you're never getting this out of anything else in live action, I bet. Like this is as close as it's going to be in that movie. Like, genuinely, it's really great if that's what you want out of it. So yeah, they go through the human sequence, and again, I like I said before, what works for me here is that, unlike in movie 1 and 2, you're not stopping the movie to do a human plot line. There is no human subplot. That's the thing that broke that segment in movie 2 for me, is stopping to do the humans subplot is aggressive in these movies, and it doesn't really work for me. But having the human characters be there, because I like the human characters. I like Tom and Maddie. It is Maddie, right? Now I'm forgetting her name. Tika Sumpter's character. I think it's Maddie. Yeah. I like them. They're a fun couple. I think it's also nice to see a movie where James Marsden isn't getting cuts. Like, I don't know why that man seemed to make a career out of, like, every movie I'm in, I'm gonna have my girl stolen. Like I don't know what was going on there, but I'm glad that he just gets to have a nice marriage in something. Like what a weird thing to get typecast as, dude that always gets cucked in every movie he's in every franchise. Like X-Men, Enchanted. I know there were a bunch of others as well. Like it was a running joke with his career for a long time. I'm happy. It's just like, hey, can I have a wife that, like, doesn't leave me? And they're like, yeah, okay. I like their relationship a lot. I think they work very well. The sister, again, is the one that was aggravating. But again, the way they use her in this one is actually pretty solid, because she's not really there. And I thought that was a very clever way to subvert my expectation. The minute I saw her face, I'm like, oh no, don't do it. Come on. I don't want to have to deal with the sister character again. It's like, oh, you kind of don't. If anything, the movie seems in on the joke that no one likes her character too much. And by the way, that's not a fault of the actress. She's doing what she was asked to do in those other two movies. In any way. I mean, I hope that's it. I hope that's obvious if I ever say something like that, is like, I never feel like it's the fault of the actress. It's pretty much always the fault of the writer. Some people get very, like, nervous. Oh, well, actually, to be fair, it's not always even the fault of the writer, because sometimes the writer will write something that's good, and then the Hollywood guys will come in and script doctor and then kind of fuck up what the writer did. So it's always just kind of tricky to tell where the link in the chain broke. That being said, again, I like the human cast in these movies. It's just the human subplots have been kind of dreadful whenever they come up. I mean, I guess I could do that. But not having one in this movie really helped. That made it a lot more, I wouldn't even say tolerable, because that makes it sound like it was hard to tolerate. I thought it was very, very well put together, and like they understood where the majority of people, myself included, complaints were with the last one in that one sequence. Which is, like, remember, Sonic 2, I think, is a great movie that has a 20-minute segment where the movie just fucking stops and then has to deal with the human subplot. And, like, it just feels like the movie can't get away from it fast enough. And again, the other thing of movie 2 is that the Sonic cast is, like, unconscious for that sequence. So it's like, at least let me hang out with them during it. And that's what they did this time. They're like, the Sonic cast is they're just on comms and they're waiting their turn while Tom and Maddie are inside. But they're constantly in the scenes, right? So it's not like you're just only dealing with them. But even then, I think the bits that Tom and Maddie have there, like, they're not doing the human subplot. They're actually getting shit done. They're affecting the A plot. There kind of isn't really a subplot unless you want to consider the Robotnik and Shadow stuff, I guess, a subplot. But I mean, I would not personally consider that a subplot. I would kind of consider that still A plot. But yeah, so they do a good job with that. So let's talk about what might be the best scene in the movie. And I think you probably know what I'm about to talk about. That is, so in the first movie, Jim Carrey has a really cool, maybe really cool isn't the right way to put it, a fun dance sequence that is very silly, and it's very Eggman in a fun way. It's very eccentric, it's very Jim Carrey. and it fits that character very well. He gets interrupted in the middle of it, right? But it's fun. It's a fun sequence in that first movie. I was trying to think about this if movie 2 had a dance sequence, and as far as I remember, I don't think it does. I don't think movie 2 has a dance sequence. Let me just quickly, hold on. Sonic movie 2 Robotnik dance sequence? Let's see if Google can tell me if I'm full of shit. There actually is one in the second movie. No, there is no dance sequence in movie 2. Gotcha. So he had a dance sequence in the first movie, and it was fun. It was very energetic. Had a great payoff with Stone interrupting it. But apparently Jim Carrey was like, I want to outdo that. And in case you haven't read interviews, by the way, on this scene, this dance sequence in this movie, this was 100% Jim Carrey's idea. It was his idea for how to do it, what it would be, what the song would be, which was Galvanized by, I forget the band, to be honest. I'm not good with music, I'm not going to lie. But the song was fun. I'm not a music guy, so just calm down. I know. But the song was great. The sequence was entirely Jim Carrey's idea. If you are watching this and have not seen the movie, and you just don't care, for context, I will at least say, I would hope that you would just go watch it, because it's great. It is easily the best of the three, by the way. It is fantastic. I'm very excited to own this thing. I've already got my copy ordered from Amazon. Mind you, of course, it's not till April. And honestly, I was surprised they'd even let me pre-order it this soon. But I saw it yesterday. I was like, oh, okay, shit, why not? But yeah, so basically, it is a sequence in which, when they're breaking into the gun facility to get like these key cards that they need to operate the satellite, you need 2 key cards to operate the satellite. That's basically Space Colony Arc with the giant space station, right? You need 2 key cards to turn it on. And Eggman has one of them, and then or Eggman and Gerald, I guess, have one of them, and Team Sonic needs to break into... Oh, there's also a fun bit where they keep getting called Team Sonic, and Knuckles keeps wanting to call it Team Knuckles. So Eggman, they need to get into the base, and they have to break through the firewall, basically. They have to get through the main defenses. Then once they get in, there is a huge laser grid that is one of those, like, hey, these lasers will slice you into bits kind of lasers. Not detection, alarm is now raised, like murder lasers, right? A little earlier in the sequence, Jim Carrey gets his grandfather, Gerald, and himself 2 red and black suits that are very classic skin-tight Eggman. Like early games skin-tight kind of thing. And they... So he shoves his grandfather into the lasers first. Of course, his grandfather's very proud because he did a good evil thing. And the lasers bounce off the costumes. Now, I did think it was pretty funny that, like, they had to make a conceit that they couldn't justify in the scene, which was the lasers reflect and refract off of their suits. But of course their faces are unexposed. Are exposed, right? The lasers could totally laser their fucking domes off, but of course the lasers never touch their faces because you need to see that Jim Carrey and Jim Carrey are dancing. So they do an insanely well choreographed. Listen, even if you don't like these movies, if you don't think if these movies are not your jam, which by the way, I've seen a good number of people say, "Hey, I really hated the first 2 movies. This one's great." So that's been really cool to see so far. So even if these movies are not your jam, I challenge you to tell me that on a technical level, this sequence is not unbelievably impressive, because this is Jim Carrey dancing with Jim Carrey in makeup, in skin-tight red and black suits, with a bazillion CG lasers refracting off of them. Refracting, not reflecting. Refracting off of them. And I read the interview where they're talking about, like, yeah, that the whole sequence was Jim Carrey's idea. They were originally just going to break in. Because the thing is, when Tails sets up the sequence, it's basically, yeah, Sonic's going to have to go really fast, and he's going to have to do some crazy shit. So you're not expecting... Well, you're expecting to see Sonic have to go through it, but Sonic never goes through it. It's just Jim Carrey. So that's already a surprise. To my understanding, there may have been something in a trailer that showed this. I think I may have seen it in an ad for a second, but I don't think it made enough of an impression when I saw it to remember it, because while I am sort of remembering that I may have seen it somewhere right now, I was fully surprised by that sequence in the theater. That was a stupendous moment. So it is a sequence where, yeah, again, Jim Carrey dancing with Jim Carrey, and it's not just like dancing with him. Like, he's picking him up, he's spinning him around. They're like they're interacting on a physical level on many occasions as they dance through each other. And again, all the while, you have a bazillion lasers bouncing off of them. Which, listen, I understand some people might think, yeah, but whatever, that's not that impressive because the lasers are just CG. Yes, you're right, the lasers are just CG, but, like, I didn't really process. I think I might have also thought that when I first saw the scene, but reading the interview with Fowler, the director, where he's basically like, yeah, it's a sequence where you have Jim Carrey. Sorry, actually, I think I may have the article still, and I actually wouldn't mind reading the quote out loud. Jim Carrey dance sequence Sonic 3 requested. Let's see. All right, here we go. Yeah, Jim Carrey demanded this sequence be in the movie. It was his idea. So let's see. Let's get to these quotes. Sorry, it's the Chemical Brothers galvanized. In early conversations, it was one of Jim's requests. In the first movie, there's a moment where Robotnik is alone in his lab and thinks he's by himself, puts on some music where evil grows by the Poppy family, and he just starts dancing. He has a little dance party, and then he gets interrupted by his assistant Stone. Jim wanted to dance again. Of course, we had to not just have him dance, we had to go big and really go for it this time. We immediately brought in these amazing choreographers and the dance team. Of course, Jim wanted to do everything he could, practically. That's really awesome, by the way. But there was no way he could do everything, especially since he's dancing with himself. So there's always going to need to be another human in there dancing with him that would then become a face replacement down the line. They also said that making the Robotnik dancing sequence was a challenge based on the dozens of lasers of their laser-resistant suited bodies. We very quickly learned that the more we threw in there, the harder it became to understand their movement. So it was very much trial and error. Just what's the right amount of lasers to create these really fun silhouettes and geometric patterns with the way that the lasers were reflecting off their bodies. It's a short but memorable sequence, but let's see, surprisingly, yeah, the sequence was a lot of work from a lot of people. It's such a standout thing. I think we've all seen sequences with laser grids and lattices where people are having to navigate them, but the idea of dancing right through it was so Jim Carrey, so perfect and really fun to execute. I'm gonna be honest, on a technical level, like, I've seen a lot of Jim Carrey movies. I think he's always been great. I think in terms of his recent years, like the physical comedy he did in the 90s has been kind of gone outside. And not that he shouldn't be boxed into just doing that forever, to be clear. But clearly they dialed into that for these movies, and it makes sense that that's what you're going to do with them. But, like, this is probably... I'm not going to sit here and say it's the best sequence Jim Carrey has ever been a part of. I'm not going to do that. But I feel like, undeniably, it is it has to be one of the most impressive things he's ever done in his career. On a technical level. And in terms of, like, just his madness, it has to be up there, at the very least. You know, like, he's fucking going for it. Like, he's dancing with himself, he's lifting himself into the air. I thought it was really fun. And there's a moment where he does, like, fully lift himself into the air, right? I'm going to assume for a second that they were bouncing back and forth between who was old and who was young, right? Because, of course, you had to have the makeup and, like, the dots, and you had to get those heads on certain bodies. Apparently, again, like I said, a good portion of that was actually him. But, like, yeah, there's a sequence, there's a bit where he carries himself over himself, like almost ballerina style, right? And spins him. And that was just like I think for a portion of the fight, a portion of the dance sequence, I was sitting there thinking, okay, they're probably just like they're never gonna touch, you know, like they're never gonna touch each other because that's probably way too complicated, even for a movie with this budget. And then he starts like pirouetting between him and like holding hands, and then also like again lifting him up, and like wow, like again, obviously I was understanding as a rational person. Yeah, there's probably two people in this scene, right? Like this is not actually Jim Carrey dancing with himself. That would be absurd. But like, what's in here? Did I ever come in here? Looks like it. No idea where those last four year parts are, but whatever. I feel like I've been pretty thorough. Like I really don't know where else I would look for four more. But yeah, like the sequence, having him bouncing off himself literally with all these crazy lasers doing the same thing and refracting in a billion directions, unbelievably impressive technically. And I thought that I would hesitate to say that's the best sequence in the movie for me personally, because the entire climax exists. But like undeniably, watching Jim have that much fun with that, and especially knowing that was really his idea, was like, yeah, I was really floored by that. The children in the audience behind me didn't seem quite as impressed by it, because how could they be? Maybe one day they'll understand. Oh, by the way, small note, I'm watching a kids movie at the theater, so I have no qualms about bringing your kids to the theater. That would be fucking psycho shit, right? I'm not gonna be that person. So if I have a child behind me that's like making a bunch of dumb comments, I live with it because it's a kids movie. A part of me wants to shush, but doesn't, because I don't want to rock the boat, or like, I don't know what the parent's demeanor is going to be, so I'm not going to do that. That being said, whoever brought the crying baby to the screening, I will find you. like, come on. There's a line. If the infant is at fetus stage, like, come on. Anyway. Loud movie with a lot of action. Like, yeah, what do you think's gonna happen? Come on. Get a babysitter. It's okay. I get it. Unless maybe the husband was like, to be honest, I could not see where these people were. They were somewhere in the back, so I didn't see if it was a husband and wife or a single mom, single dad. I didn't know. Maybe it was single dad that was like, I want to see the Sonic movie, and I will bring my child in case anyone asks. Which, you know what, would be a little based, but I don't know. At the same time, no, just don't bring your still screaming infant to the loud movie. Like, don't do that. That's it. There's a better time for that. I saw Toy Story. Toy Story was probably the first movie I ever saw in a theater. Actually, no, wait. Toy Story came out like 2 months before I was born, if I'm not mistaken. So Toy Story 2, I think, would have been the first movie I ever saw in a theater. I think. I'm not 100% sure. I feel like it's my earliest theater memory, but I remember being awake, so I'm pretty sure I was like not a screaming infant at that point. But also I was probably still like 3 or 4, so like it was pretty early in the cooker on that one. But yeah, so incredible dance sequence from Jim Carrey. I feel like I've said almost too much about it at this point, but it really is that impressive. And if you don't see anything else from that movie, if you don't care to watch it for whatever reason, you should really go look up that sequence on YouTube as soon as it's there, because wow, it is really spectacular and so impressive, especially if you appreciate like technical aspects of films and like being like, how did they do that? Like forget the CG aspects of it for a second. Yes, obviously the CG parts were made in a computer, right? But that's not even the parts that are impressive, right? The fact that it's readable with the CG lasers is impressive, but that's not the part that makes it impressive. The part that makes it impressive is plain and simply like the crazy shit they actually get Jim and Jim dancing together to do. That's the crazy part. And I thought that was just really spectacular. Really well done. Trying to think. So what comes next in sequence in the movie? Right. I guess we should talk a little bit about Sonic. I will say, and this might be a little bit of a surprise, I do like Sonic's arc in this movie because I think they have a solid. I think this was a story that needed to happen for Sonic, especially if Shadow's in the movie. Like you pretty much have to do the story like this for as far as his character arc if Shadow is in the movie, because ultimately, what do you want in a movie that has Shadow? You want Sonic and Shadow to fight. Like, as much as I hate to say it, you kind of don't really want Tails and Knuckles in that fight. You want to see Sonic fight Shadow. So he goes off on his own a lot, and he fights Shadow a lot. And that could be seen as a regression in some ways. But I actually think for this movie, I really wouldn't have had it any other way, to be honest. Early on, the justification that they have is like, hey, I'm still learning to work as a team and all that, right? Which I guess is fair, because in the Knuckles show, from what I saw, like, Sonic does kind of just let Knuckles go off on his own. But yeah, so we have the first sequence, he runs off to fight Shadow, and then Tails is like, where'd you go? We're supposed to be a team. And he's like, yeah, I'm still working on the teamwork thing, you know? Might have been a little weird, given that they did that at the end of the second movie. I do admit that. But also, again, if you're doing the Sonic versus Shadow movie, you don't really want Tails and Knuckles getting in the way of that too much. Like, I don't think a fight sequence that was all three of them would have worked that well. It wouldn't have quite felt what it needed to be, right? So I actually think that was overall the right choice, even though I do think it was a little messy in some of the execution. That being said, when we get to a bit later, so Shadow has a very angry relationship with the Commander Walters, I think is his name, the commander military dude from Sonic 2 that tells us about Project Shadow at the end, right? And because he was directly involved in what happened to Maria, right? Which, by the way, they did change one aspect of it, but also it doesn't really matter to me personally. Like, it's a very light thing as far as changes go. But I can see... Here's the thing. For me, what matters for Shadow's backstory is the humans killed Maria, and now he's mad. Like humanity killed Maria, and he's like, she was like family to me, I don't care, I'm gonna burn it all down. Fair enough. That's what it's always been. Here, that happens, but when it comes to the moment to shoot the child, and then I guess and as normal, the Sonic music convention fans will erupt in applause for some reason that I still don't fully understand, but it's pretty funny to me. Maria is not shot directly, sort of, because here's the thing. In the games, they just shoot the child. Point blank, you see it, you go, oh, Shadow, bam, right? Gun is pointed, they shoot the child. Now, here they do not do that. What they do is they have a dude who's going to shoot the child, and this is kind of the part that makes it fine for me. Because my initial thing was like, well, why would you coward out on having someone just shoot the child, other than the fact that that's fucked up in a kid's movie? And here's the thing, they don't. The child is shot. Here's the thing. My fear was, well, it's going to be tricky to do that in a movie like this for kids, because they're not going to be willing to have a soldier man that's willing to shoot the child outright, right? So how are they going to do it? But that's not what happens at all, actually. The first soldier man on the scenes is aiming the gun at the child and is ready to fire, and he's very clearly going to, and he doesn't have any qualms about it at all. Like, at all. And then he is stopped by a young Commander Walters. He's like, what are you doing? That's just a kid. And he's like, ah! And then he just shoots randomly anyway, and it shoots some explosive containers, and that takes her out. As far as I'm concerned, that's barely a change, to be honest. Like, I could see it rubbing some purists the wrong way, but like, there was a soldier man with an intent to kill. A bullet was fired, the child died. Like, what can I really say as far as like is that really a change? No, not really. What's the context of the scene? A soldier man goes to shoot the child. A bullet is fired. She is dead. That's all that matters, you know? So I can see some people feeling like that might be a back down. I don't really perceive it as that. Like, it's probably just easier to show, you know, than on camera than like watching the bullet enter the child's veins, you know? Like that, like, I can see why you would do that. Although exploding a child being like easier to do on film than shooting a child is admittedly very funny. But yeah, I thought that was that didn't bother me at all, to be honest. That felt very light as tweaks go. Like I had an initial like, oh wait, why did they? And then I go, well, really, what does that change? Nothing. So yeah, it doesn't really bother me at all. Next up, let's talk a little bit about. Oh right, so, oh god, that's right. So there's a bit where before they go into the secret lab with the dance sequence, I forgot about this. Yeah, so you have Stone and Shadow and the Robotniks talking, and they're laying out their evil plan essentially. This is one of the better lines in the movie because it's rare that I think it's the only time Keanu gets a joke, really, like because he's so serious, but like also still has a lot of heart, right? I think I can't remember the food item. But like, I think it's like yogurt or something like that. He's like, yeah, why don't we go get some yogurt, Shadow? And he's like, revenge yogurt, and he's so serious about it. He's not breaking character, and that got a good laugh out of me. Because letting Shadow break character from serious, but not in a way where it breaks character, is very good to me. I like it when you let Shadow have levity, but in a way where it's not like betraying who he is. Like he doesn't crack jokes. But in that scene, he clearly doesn't realize that it would be a joke. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't get that that's funny. He's deadly serious, and that's where humor can come from Shadow. That deadpan. I thought that was cute. Probably not a big thing to pull back to, but still, I thought it was worth mentioning at least. So they've got the dynamic with Ivo and Gerald and Stone, where Stone's like, I think your grandfather might be up to some shit. And, whatever, you're stupid. I don't care, right? It's predictable, and you see where it's going a mile away because you know what Gerald's deal is already. Nevertheless, like that is still the arc they need to go through. Like I wouldn't want it any other way. But I do think that when you get to the sequence at the end of the laser sequence, right? They have this fun set piece with anti-gravity thing, like the inside the vault where they're going to get the key. There's these anti-gravity waves that lift or drop things based on red and green. Knuckles breaks the device. They all get in, and then they're all being slammed to the ground up and down. There's some fun sequence with there's some tense stuff with like some rebar falling that almost takes out Tom. I wouldn't say tense because you know it's not gonna happen, or do you? But they do a good job in that scene with like Shadow just being able to sort of blink through all the problems, and I love that they work with the Shadow is very fast, but he is also teleporting, right? Which is the dynamic he always has. It's funny. A fun note with Maria I forgot to mention is when you first meet her, she's roller skating. I thought that was very cute. I thought that was a great nod. Obviously, Shadow's doing that throughout the rest of the movie. They don't highlight it as much. Most of the time when he's running, when he's moving, he's either on a motorcycle or he's flying, or he's walking because he's not in a speedy sequence. But I thought that was good. And by the way, he is still using the hover shoes. It's not like he's not. It's not like he's not doing the skating. He is doing the skating. But like, I thought it was fun to emphasize like that is actually something that she does before even meeting him. Like a thing that they can weirdly bond over. If anything, I thought they should have addressed that directly. That would have been cute. But that's fine. So, they get the key. Shadow, I think Tom gets away with the key. He morphs into the director. No, sorry. The Kristen Ritter's character gets away with the key. He morphs into Commander Walters. He gets stuck in his form when Shadow shows up. Shadow punches him like with full force because he hates the guy. I thought that was like pretty. I thought that was pretty effective because that was like a Superman has punched someone moment. Like, oh no, like this is a full force, like someone just like Tom's internal organs liquefied when Shadow punches him. It's crazy. You don't see that obviously, but like you can feel like obviously it's a kids movie. They can't properly demonstrate the damage, but in my head I'm like, oh yeah, no, he's out. He's out of commission for a while. Sonic, of course, sees that, and that's how we justify Sonic going off on his own at this point. And like, no, I'm gonna take care of this myself. So then we have what I'm guessing is payoff for the Knuckles show, because Knuckles basically goes, "I have the Master Emerald, and I'm not gonna let anybody. I've hidden it somewhere. I'm not gonna let anybody use it. I'm keeping it safe. I've kept it with my apprentice." Again, I watched the first 4 episodes of the Knuckles show. I did not watch the last 2. Not because I wasn't enjoying it, just because of personal reasons. Not going to really get into it. Just I was watching it with someone that can't really do that anymore. I'll probably get around to it at some point. But yeah, so I watched that. I had. I would assume that maybe that show ended with with Wade being given the Master Emerald to guard, and maybe that's actually like deliberate setup for that. But I thought basically Wade is just playing hockey with the Master Emerald, which is really funny. Also, I like how they've simplified the Master Emerald in concept here, in that it is a relatively small emerald that is like it basically it can break into the 7. It simplifies the shit out of things. Oh, sorry, 1 second. 1 second. Sorry, I gotta go on a break real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. Hi. Sorry about that. One of the staff had to come in and check all my fire alarms to just make sure that they're working correctly. I had no idea that inspection was going to be today, but that's fine. No big deal. No big deal. Just let me move some stuff real quick. They're gone now, so we're all good. Where was I? We were talking about right shadow punching Tom and like right. So the Master Emerald. I like how they simplified that by rather than having the Master Emerald was always weird to me because it's like it seemed almost weirdly unrelated to like um it seemed almost weirdly unrelated to like the other Chaos Emeralds and all that stuff, right? Like it's just a bigger emerald that sits in a field somewhere, Knuckles guards, and like is largely gonna be just over there. It's not really gonna be a big deal. And then every now and then you get the or not every now and then, but you're mainly paying attention to the seven Chaos Emeralds. Actually, in the movies, they simplifying it as the Master Emerald splits into the emeralds is very sleek, and it's much better. It also means you don't have to go on an emerald hunt. It's also yes, it's much more efficient in the context of those movies, and that you don't have to be like running around to get all seven every movie, like so that works pretty well. So Sonic runs off on his own. He's obviously angry because Tom is hurt. And I think the relationship between Tom and Sonic has been very earnest for all three movies. I really like their dynamic. I think it's probably one of my favorite parts of the movies in general, to be honest. I think it is very, very earned. And I say that as someone who really expected to dislike it going in. Like, really expected to dislike it. But I actually really think it works in the context of those movies. I think it works really well. It's certainly a much better attempt at putting in a major human character than, say, Chris from Sonic X. Like it's way better than that. But that's not really saying much. Nevertheless, I do think James Marsden, I think it's the most appealing I find him in any role he's done, to be honest. I think he's just very charming as Tom. His lines may not always be the best, but I think he does a great job with it. So that dynamic of how do you get Sonic to go off on his own and try to fight Shadow is well, you have Tom be hurt, right? And also I appreciated that I didn't think they would do it in these movies because it's a better payoff to have it be or it's a better emotional hook to have it be Tom. But I'm also glad that they didn't do Maddie or something like that. They didn't have the wife be the character that got hurt by Shadow somehow, right? Because it's just a little fridgy, and that wouldn't be as enjoyable. Whereas having it be Tom actually makes the most sense both for the script and it also makes more sense on a writing level. It's less weird, I think. So I think they did a great job with that. So he gets the Master Emerald from Wade in a second. It's actually pretty funny. And they immediately go supersonic and head to space, where Gerald and Ivo are up there, who are now in their perfect game accurate Eggman suits, by the way, which look fucking incredible. There's not a whole lot to say about the climax in terms of character stuff, because the climax is pretty much all action. I will say that the climax is an 11. If the rest of the movie is an 8, 8.5, I would say, and the climax is an 11. It's stupendously good. It's really great. It gives you pretty much everything you could ever ask for from a climax of a movie like this. It's probably the best ending to a superhero movie I've seen in ages. Does it quite hit Endgame levels of crazy? No, not quite. But man, it is really strong. And also, I know some people might be weird about me calling it a superhero movie, but I actually think in this context that label fits pretty well, honestly. So yeah, I'm just gonna say right now, yeah, I do think that level's not. It's not perfect, but I think it's better than calling it a video game movie, for example. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't really work for me. But yeah, man, I can't. I really thought that if I just glided around on this map for ages while just talking about the movie, I would naturally find those last 4 gear parts. But no, I guess not. Like, holy shit, wow. Anyway. But yeah, so Sonic goes off into space. Shadow has the moment where he remembers what happened to Maria, where we actually see the moment she dies. Gerald, then he charges up the space cannon. Gerald, of course, reveals, yeah, no, we're blowing up the Earth. I don't care. We're killing everybody. Jim Carrey gets to do some wild shit up in space. I'm just gonna talk about it now, even though I'm cutting ahead a little bit. It's really weird, but I thought it was very, like, very just quintessentially Jim Carrey, where him and Gerald are fighting with, like, robotic nanotechnology shaped like crabs and claw pincers and scorpion tails and nonsense. It's really weird. Oh yeah, Jim Carrey turns into a praying mantis essentially, and it's like so strange, but also quintessentially like Jim Carrey Eggman in the best way. I really think they do a great job with that. Part of me finds it really hard to go back to game Eggman at this point. Like, honestly, like, it's like he's just he's a little flavorless compared to, like, you know, Jim Carrey's sake. I kind of wish they would inject some of that energy back into the games, in all honesty. But yeah, so, like, think of it this way. So Sonic flies off, he grabs Shadow, and he flies him to Earth as Supersonic. And then Shadow actually kicks him hard enough that he flies out of it, and they both grab the emerald at the same time, and they both go super. I can't remember. I remember Supersonic and Super Shadow as in my brain, but I think they do call them Hyper Shadow. I think they call it Shadow Hyper Shadow in some iterations. I'm not exactly sure what the distinction is, but nevertheless, it's still cool. And really, I have 2 keys for music left, and I still have to find those too. That's crazy. Wow. Makes me wonder where these things are that I'm missing, apparently. But anyway. A great fight sequence between Sonic and Shadow as their super forms. Obviously, there's not a lot for me to say about action other than the action was very cool. Like, I can't dissect that in any way that's, like, interesting to listen to. But when they settle down and Sonic has his moment of, like, I appreciated that they really emphasized, like, Shadow's pain and, like, how, again, Shadow's life was like Sonic's if he had nobody, right? It's also unclear if Shadow came from Sonic's planet by the end, right? You would think that they would address that, but they actually don't. We have the great sequence where they're on the moon. Don't think about how they're breathing. I assume it's fine, because they're aliens, I guess. And so they build through that scene. They decide to work together. And then throughout the movie, I gotta say, my biggest issue with these movies overall has been the Sonic games are very ride or die, and their music is fucking important to what they are, right? And having those movies be mostly pop culture tracks and none of the stuff the games are known for, I guess you could argue that since they were aping Sonic 1 and 3, well, Sonic 1, 2, and 3 for Sonic 1 and 2, technically, because Tails and Knuckles they did in the same movie, which I do actually think is the right choice. They were in an interesting situation where, like, they could have just kept doing this orchestral score / like, hey, we're gonna have pop culture tracks kick in, and those were always grating to me. But this movie's whole score is like an orchestral Junkie XL version of Live and Learn. Like that riff, the main chorus riff of Live and Learn is undercooking the whole movie, and it's really great. They finally fixed that for me. Is they made the thing about these movies that hurt them the most, in my opinion, was the lack of emphasis and care about Sonic's musical importance. Right, like the music matters to the Sonic franchise, and not really paying attention to it is very. It's a very bad choice, in my opinion. It's one of the worst things you could do for these. Nevertheless, I think they've largely been good, but I think that was something really hurting them. Having them finally lean into that was great. Now, we heard Live and Learn was going to be in the movie in advance. I will be honest, a part of me wishes they didn't tell me that. Because when the Live and Learn sting happens in the movie, it did hype me up. It really did hype me up. But they do the main early chorus riff of Live and Learn. I don't need it for tomorrow. And then they as they're powering up, and then it rings out, and I thought, oh, maybe the song's gonna cut back in after this scene with the two Eggmans, but it doesn't. And then it does do an orchestral riff after that. But yeah, hearing Live and Learn in the movie was fantastic, and it was great. I wished they played it during the fight, but I get it, sort of. I kind of do and I kind of don't. They were playing still their orchestral version of Live and Learn, which I think is really cool, and I like it a lot. Nevertheless, it would have been nice to at least have the lyrics. I think they should have kept the lyrics at the very least. Fast forwarding through that, yeah, we have the final sequences with Eggman and Tails and Knuckles. They bug zap Gerald out of the movie in a very funny way. And then Sonic and Shadow come back to the base. They try to take out the space laser before it destroys the world. Very similar to the end of Sonic Adventure 2. Except they have to fight a bunch of gun robots, essentially, right? And that was fine. That was cool. I didn't mind that. I will definitely admit that I would have preferred to see... I don't know. It's hard for me to say because, like, I have to admit, trying to justify the Bio-Lizard as your big third act monster could have been accused of, it's a big CG fight with a big CG monster. Who cares? People are tired of that. And I get that, right? I don't necessarily think a CG fight with a bunch of robots is better, but I can see why they felt like that would be more appealing. Maybe it would be easier to have them be able to destroy multiple things. Maybe you could have done both. We could have done both. I don't know how you would justify the Space Lizard at that point in the movie, right? Like it would be a big ask. It would be a pretty big ask to ask people to vibe with at that point. I get that. Where was it the whole time? Where was it being kept? How is it? What's going on here? All the questions you would have to answer. That I could see the movie just not being capable of figuring out, and not even in a like it's inept kind of way. In a like I don't know how you would justify it. You know, like it's a lot to throw people. It's a lot to throw people. Anyway, they do the big fight in space. It's awesome. It's a great climax. I think it is pretty much everything I could have wanted out of that sequence overall. Really loved it. They end, of course, on the classic Shadow pushing the space colony away, sacrificing himself. Potentially Eggman as well, but also maybe not. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, so we have Shadow pushing the space colony away. Eggman broadcasting to Earth, like basically saving it. You know, they really should not have put that "if I can't conquer the Earth, I might as well save it" line from the trailer. That really should not have been in the trailer, because that's like his last line in the movie. They really should not have done that. That was a bad choice for the trailer. They should not have done that. So yeah, that was So he has this big goodbye to Stone, right? And I think they did a solid job of paying that off. And the movie is still humorous, right? So it's never going to completely break character from being, like, Jim Carrey being wild and weird and Stone being, you know, also kind of eccentric, right? It's never going to fully break character from that. And in fact, I wouldn't want it to. I think that would kind of... If you bleed into melodrama in this and have it be too genuine, I don't think it would work. I think it has to be humorous to an extent. But, you know, I think the sequence... It does... I think the way they did it was perfect. I really couldn't have asked for much more for that. And in fact, I can really only see them doing it another way, making it worse. So, that's just me. Largely... How the fuck did I miss that? Of all places, it's in a giant open space. How? Anyway. That doesn't make sense to me. That's insane. Are they all going to be, like, on the water or something now? Anyway. But yeah, so... Eggman seemingly dies. Presumably because they don't know how long they can keep Jim Carrey, right? He said he's retiring last time, but he also said he'd come back and do these as many times as they wanted him to. And they've already confirmed 4 is coming. So yeah, Shadow dies, quote unquote. We don't see it, of course, just like in the games. So the next, we do the final sequence where Sonic, Tails, and Shadow race again, and they do it for real this time. It's fun, it's cute. I like it. I don't really have a ton to say about it. They had their big family reunion with Tom now that he's fine. And pretty much that's the end of the movie, to be honest. Like, there's not a lot to dissect there. So let's talk about well, I guess I'll just say, for the movie itself, again, like 8.5 for me. I'll go ahead and say that yeah, I'll call the movie like an 8.5. And then I think the final sequence is like an 11. It's really great. And then we get to our post-credits things. Now, I'm going to talk about the second one first because it's the less interesting one, and also it's more obvious, and honestly, if you ask me, I think they should have switched them. But I get that they wanted the big pop before people... By the way, lots of people left. Lots of people left. Right at the credits, as the credits started. Quite a few people didn't. But a lot of people left after... a lot of people left after the second credit sequence. Or the first one, rather. So they didn't see the one I'm about to talk about. So the second credit sequence is very simple. It's the post-credits, so it's like after. It is a scene in which you see... One of the things that happened in the final sequence when Shadow was powering up was he removed his ring limiters, which the movie never addresses why that matters. And that's fine by me. I don't need it to, really. But nevertheless, the movie, it does do that. And the last thing you see in the movie is that ring limiter being looked at, and then, of course, a gloved hand grabs it, and you get the little riff sting for Live and Learn. Bum, 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 no, 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 no. And it's like, yeah, Shadow's alive. Of course, Shadow's alive. And of course, everybody that walked out of the theater doesn't fucking know that, because that was way after most people left. But I read there were 2 scenes, and I would have stayed till the end anyway. Because that's just how this shit works these days. Less interesting scene of the 2, of course, because it's not really telling us anything I think any of us knew. I think Paramount was even talking about, I think Idris was talking about, let's do a Knuckles and Shadow spinoff. And I don't really want a Knuckles and Shadow spinoff, but I do want a Shadow spinoff. I do think you can make a Shadow movie. Easy. I think that's very obvious and very much something you should do. It would have a lot of potential to be very, very fun. Then let's talk about the actually interesting post-credit, mid-credit scene, I guess you would call it. So, Sonic is in the woods running. He clearly overshot the race that they were doing at the end of the movie. And then he is intercepted by something that is looking at him on a heads-up display visor. And in my head, I'm like, oh, are we doing it? Are we doing it? Are we doing it? Are we doing it? And then a perfect game-accurate Metal Sonic shoots into screen. The exact Metal Sonic design you know and love. It is that design. It's great. It looks fantastic. It's the design you know. It is Metal Sonic. There's no movie-ification of it. It's Metal Sonic. As you remember him. Sonic has a little bit of quippage with him. He doesn't say much. And then Sonic kind of tosses him a bit. And then, but he's clearly not doing the best, but then he's like, oh, is that all you got? And then we get a bunch of red eyes in the background popping up. And then reveal, of course, there is actually like an army of Metal Sonics. And that is awesome. Because I was wondering what kind of hook they would do with Metal Sonic after Shadow. Because Metal Sonic is a big deal, but like, he's a tricky character to get right, because what do you do with him in terms of personality? To be fair, that's a bit of a blessing in disguise, because he doesn't have much personality, which means you can go any direction you want with him. So Metal Sonic is a great canvas to paint with for 4. They can literally do whatever they want with it. But on its own, I don't think that's enough of a hook for Sonic 4 to be that exciting. And clearly they agreed, because as he is surrounded by them, a hooded figure jumps into frame and starts clobbering them. And then just as you're wondering who that is, you see a close-up of a pink hammer flying through the air and smashing them all to bits. As I go, oh my god, yes, it's time. And of course, the hooded figure lands and reveals. Of course, she doesn't have any lines, so we don't know who will play her. Frankly, they should just cast the lady that plays her in the games, because she's great. Of course, reveals that it's Amy, and she does a little smirk after beating up a bunch of Metal Sonics, and that is our tease for 4. So 4 would be essentially Sonic CD with Amy and Metal Sonic, and who knows who else. That might not be our only introduction. Of course, it also seems fair game to assume Shadow will probably be in movie 4 as well. I would find it hard to believe that he would skip it. He's a bit too popular to do that with. My question right now is, are they going to get Jeff Fowler to do another of these? Are they going to... Because Jeff Fowler's done 3 of these now, and that's usually when a lot of directors would bow out, right? They confirmed that 4 was coming. I don't think they said if Fowler was signed on. Fowler's really good at these, and I don't know how excited I would be if he was stepping away and letting someone else do it. I don't want just a studio director. I want someone that... He clearly cares about this franchise, you know? And it's a question, right? It's a big question, is if they want to do it, right? Then, like, how do I put this? If they want to do Sonic 4, I hope it's not, it's just if Fowler does step away and go, yeah, I did Shadow, that's what I wanted to do, and now steps away, so let someone else do it, that's fine. Just don't put a yes man director in the pilot seat. I want someone who really cares about the material still, you know? Obviously these films are not perfect, but they have a lot of heart where it matters, and they clearly care about getting the material right, if nothing else. And for the most part, they do a good job of that. Most of the stuff that gets optimized in or out of it for the sake of Hollywoodism seems entirely driven by Hollywood, but at the same time, this movie doesn't feel ashamed to be part of the games that it's based on. And hold on, I need to make sure the stream isn't crashing right now. Why is the PC being like this? Oh, I see. Because even though I did not click on the Screen Rant article to get my answers, they decided to give it to me anyway. And Screen Rant is giving me a billion ads, which means that my fucking PC is trying to kill itself. Great. Jesus fucking Christ. Ugh. I'll do this on the tablet. Okay, there we go. Well, apparently that happened a bit ago. Um, but yeah, so they have a good, um, they have a very good framework to follow for four, I think, because movie four being Amy and Metal Sonic lets them go in a lot of different directions. But I guess it would also be a version of Sonic CD that had Shadow in the mix somehow. I don't know to what capacity. I don't know how. But obviously people want more of Shadow. Um, but you don't want to like shortchange Amy for Shadow either. This was Shadow's movie, right? So I guess you would probably make a Shadow movie as well, if I had to guess. Like maybe they'll put that on the calendar for like 28 or something. I don't know. But yeah, overall, because the Sonic 4 was dated for spring 27. Let me just Sonic 4 confirmed because I still didn't actually get my answer. Come to think of it. Let's see. Here we go. Does it say anywhere if Fowler signed on already? Let's see. It doesn't look like it. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Wait. Sorry. I should be looking at the original Variety article. Yeah. Um, do they mention if Sonic 4 has Fowler on still? Let's see. Jeff Fowler's directed all three. Plot details are being kept under wraps. They do not say if Fowler's coming back. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just live in mild fear until then, because yeah, I don't know what you would do with this franchise on someone else's helm. In fact, the Knuckles show kind of showed that maybe it's not the best out of his hands, but like I also don't think that show was terrible. But again, I didn't finish it. I didn't get through the last two episodes, though I was told those two episodes are pretty bad. So I don't know. I actually quite liked the last one I saw, which was the musical episode with Knuckles. With Knuckles, well, not really with Knuckles. It's weird. The show's weird, but I thought it was pretty insane, and at times even in a good way. But yeah, largely, I'm just happy this movie exists. I'm happy that Shadow got done so well. I really can't say enough good things about Keanu's arc. I don't know if I talked about it as much as I would have liked to, but like, it's tricky. I think for Shadow, like they kept it short and sweet and simple. They got the story right. They got him. They all the lines that he needed to have. I felt like were voiced excellently. I never got the sense that Keanu phoned a single thing in. Not that I would have expected him to. He's always great. He's very versatile, and he cares a lot about stuff that he gets cast in. And yeah, I think overall, I really loved the movie, and I had a great time with it. And there's not a lot of I can't say enough things good about it. It's really, really good, and people are clearly going nuts for it. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Sonic 3. I really thought I would find more things in the stage / see more along the way, but I'll stuff this in the Shadow Generations playlist. And the Sonic X Shadow Generation playlist. I keep saying that. And yeah, I don't have a ton else to say. The movie's really good. Sonic 4 is probably going to be cool too. I would very much like a film that if we're doing Metal Sonic and Amy, I would very much like to see a good. I want to see a good mix. I want to see like them. I kind of hope they don't do an explicit romantic arc with that. Like I feel like they might, because girl Sonic character, and Hollywood might be like, oh cool, now we can do the romance thing. I kind of think Amy works better these days when she's more of her own character and she's not lovesick. Like I think making her less Sonic crazy, who has been one of the better choices they've made in the games recently. So, like, maintaining that in those movies, if we're gonna do that, I think would be smart. Let her be her own character. Hell, maybe even let Sonic like her in that way, but, like, Amy's not into it. I think that would be a fun dynamic flip. And don't let it settle in by the end. Like, just let her be part of the group by the end. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, so really happy with Amy joining next time. Whatever they do with Metal Sonic, again, he's a blank slate. They can do whatever the hell they want with him. So yeah. And of course, they'll do more with Shadow, I'm sure. No idea what capacity he would be in the next one, but hey, clearly they have ideas beyond just these three. I don't know what you would do with Sonic after the Metal Sonic and Amy movie. Clearly they want to keep making these. I feel like, to be honest, we might be getting to that place where, like, listen, they show Iblis in that Knuckles show in a wild way. I don't actually think it's impossible that the next movie ends with a stinger for fucking Silver. Like Silver the Hedgehog. I actually don't think that's impossible at all. And I would kind of mark the fuck out. I don't know what you do beyond that. Like that's kind of the last kind of stinger I can see. But also doing Sonic 06 as a movie is like the least tantalizing thing I think you can ask for most people. Like what would you even do with that? I mean, you'd most likely do completely your own thing. Like, it would probably be very loose, like this one was. Though I would say this is more accurate to Sonic 2 than anything. Although, to be fair, they also haven't done Chaos. Like, you could do Sonic Adventure 1 still. You could just do their version of it that has other characters in the mix, you know? Like, you could do a movie with Chaos as the antagonist still. That's not crazy to me. That's totally doable. I think that would be still a good place to go as well. As far as that goes, yeah, great movie. Really cool DLC. Why not, for the sake of wrapping the stream, let's go through the level one last time, just to end this on a fun note.
Where am I now? Huh? Is that me? Huh? I've taken on another form?
Really great.
I feel as if I've left my own dimension. Suspicious. I should follow. Looks like I've kept my misinformed abilities. Let's do a beautiful city. It looks like how Maria described the Earth.
There we go.
Yep.
Ah! Damn it. That's fine. Oh, that's really cool. They have like a proper movie style jump animation. I didn't even catch that before.
I need to find my way back, or fight my way out.
Oh, there we go.
What are they?
Really great level. Really great. Wish I could have used this skin the whole stream, honestly. Unfortunately, that's not an option.
What a waste of time. You can't stop me. I must keep moving.
Oh no! That's fine. We did it. We did it perfect before. I don't need to perfect it again. That's fine. I'm just gonna take the hit. Aw, really? I thought I went past that. I gotta say, I have really come around on, like, I think these characters may actually look better when they have separate eyes. Like, it looks really good. Worst time, but that's fine. We got a better one already. Alright, well, I think that'll pretty much be it for this stream. It is 4:40 at this point. I don't think that's enough to start up a Kingdom Hearts stream, so I'll probably just turn on Rivals in a bit. Like, very soon. Like, maybe not even 20 minutes.
Control! I have no time for this. I have to complete my mission. But I'll be back.
And that is Sonic X Shadow Generations.